3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Midlands Media Mixer, our first interview. This is our show. We're going to do quite a few of these just to introduce you to who we are, what the page is about, and also to give you a bit of a wider scope on the community, the key members of that community, and what we're all about. So I've got myself today, Tom, and we've got Jack today.
Hi.
Yeah, so we're gonna host the show today. We have our first interviewee, our first guest, which is Marco Robinson. He's here with us today. And then what we're going to do, we're going to talk to Marco and get to know him a bit more, just so we can give his experiences, his advice, his insights into what he's been doing and his experience in the industry. So that if you're looking to follow a similar path or achieve a similar success, you can do that by following his words of advice and looking at what he's done to try and implement that into your own journey. And what the page is all about is helping the community with each other, you know, because in this industry, there's a lot of, it's rife with people being selfish and being toxic and trying to keep things from themselves. And that's why we're here today, to give you this insight, this experience, to help you out and say, look, we're here to work together with you. And this is what the page is for. And that's why we're doing this interview. So there'll be a few more of these interviews today, over the next few months, just to introduce you to different key members. And this is the first one. So if we'd like to talk to you, Marco, and if you'd like to introduce yourself for us, just so the audience knows who you are and what we can talk about.
No mercy.
You decide your own death warrant.
No trace.
What if it's a trap?
No survivors. Scott Adkins, Anna Budkevich.
You will not win.
Legacy of lies.
Game over.
Hello, Tom and Jack. My name is Marco. I went to school when I was 5. And then I went to another school. No, basically, I'll give you my backstory, then you know where I'm coming from, okay? So when I was 2 years old, my mum left my dad. He was a gambling addict. She was 23, I was 2 years old. And she went to live with her mum in the north of England. It was very cold, it was snowing. And her stepfather. Now, her stepfather had sexually abused her since she was 4, so it was very difficult for her to go back there. And I didn't even know about that until a couple of years ago when I made a TV show and we did a backstory. So he said at the door, you can't stay here. It's either me or them. So we had to live in the park. So we lived in the park. I was homeless. She was homeless for quite a number of years. She remarried. I had a stepdad, but he was bipolar. So he was very nice on the outside, but inside he was very violent. So that was a hugely difficult childhood for me to kind of rationalize. I ran away from home. I didn't go to school very much. I was the guy at the back of the class looking out the window when I was at school. And I spent most of my time in my imagination, because that's the only way I could escape where I was. And thank God I did, because in that imagination, I imagined myself running around as a James Bond with a gun, as the good guy, the hero, because that's what I was fighting all the time. And because I spent so long in my imagination, I couldn't tell the difference between what was real and what was not real. And an actor's journey is all about being real in an imaginary situation. So for me, I'd always wanted to be in movies since I was very, very young. I just never got round to it very young. Mm-hmm. Life took over because I was in a survival mode for a very long time. And, you know, I was homeless when I was a teenager. I didn't really go to school much. I had 4 jobs. And when I was 21, I got my first stable job in sales, and I became very successful at doing that. And in turn, I made a lot of money. And then I got headhunted from loads of different countries, and one of them was Malaysia. And in 1997, I took my family to Malaysia to run a company over there, a public company. It was very difficult. It was very intense. I had a heart attack at 29. Yeah, wow. My wife had an affair with my best friend a month later. Oh. And I lost all my money on the stock market. That was when I was 29. So I've had 100 lifetimes in my lifetime, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I decided then I was never going to have a boss anymore. So I became a default entrepreneur. I did a lot of consulting, but I also did motivational seminars to thousands of people in Asia. I just love doing that. And then I opened a few businesses. I opened my own restaurant. I did property, stuff like that. And last year, I decided to stop everything, fly to London, go to acting school, fuck it, and just do what I love to do.
Yeah.
And I'm 52 now. And my class was teenagers. I think the oldest person there was 23. And I was 52. And I'm thinking, am I in the right place here? But then they loved me being there because of my life experience. They always said, you got so much experience in life, Marco, and all that kind of stuff. So I really enjoyed my year in London. It was amazing. And then the virus came, and I ended up at my mum's house because I don't know where I'm going to live yet, whether I'm going to be in London, whether I'm going to be in the north or another country. I don't really know that. And that's not really the most important thing in my life right now. The most important thing in my life is film and filmmaking. And it's absolutely everything I do, and I wouldn't do anything else if you paid me. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a #1 best-selling author. I've written 2 books. I'm on my 3rd book. What else? I was knighted for charity.
Oh, wow.
I was able to bring guide dogs to Malaysia for 350,000 blind people. And we made a film called Are You Blind? And it got 15 million hits on YouTube. Got a lot of attention, and they said, you've done an amazing thing. And it was an amazing thing to do to help so many people. So that's a little bit about me.
Amazing. That's, from what you say, like from the reaction from the other students and what you were doing, all that life experience. Now I feel like it's, from what you said, it's molded who you are and given you the ability to see things from a different perspective and face challenges with a bit of an arsenal.
Yes.
Against life's challenges and against what's going on in the world all the time.
Yeah, well, the arsenal includes not having fear.
Yeah.
And, a big part of achieving success and doing what you want to do is a lot of people are afraid. They're so afraid to do something they want to do. They find all those excuses not to do it, and they end up being not happy. And, this is a very common thread through people's lives, especially younger people. And, I'm there as a guy that does not give a fuck, really. And, the day you stop giving a fuck is the day you start living.
Absolutely.
Because you have to take risks in life. You have to take huge risks. But you see, to some people, those risks are so big, they're unsurmountable. But to you, it's part of the process. And you've got to love the process, because the process, Tom and Jack, as you know, is things don't come easy on a plate. You have to start that journey. You have to create that goal and vision that you got, and you have to go and do it. You can't say to yourself, oh, if it doesn't work out, I've got plan B. I've never had a plan B. If you said to me, Tom, what's your plan B, Marco? I couldn't tell you that, because I go for the plan A. If I want to take the island, I burn my boats.
Absolutely.
That's what I do, So you've got to commit. You've got to have commitment, and that's it.
It's that conviction, isn't it? That conviction to move forward relentlessly without any thought of surrendering, any thought of retreating, because that's your only goal, isn't it? To move forward. And if you don't get there, you can keep going.
However, there are challenges.
We heard a story a couple of months ago about some graduates who, the traditional thing for a film student is to get a part-time job after they finish. And some of these graduates were telling us that the best day of their life happened when they quit that part-time job. They actually commit to film full-time.
Yes.
And that was what was stopping them. And that's exactly what you just said, that sometimes you've got to just go for it. It's easy to have 1,000 plan Bs, and then you never get around to plan A, do you? So I think, yeah, you're exactly right there.
Well, that's it. Once like you said, once you commit, the world of opportunity actually opens for you. It's like a reward for having that courage to do it, Yeah.
Exactly. That's right. So that's why we wanted to get you on today, because one, your story is completely inspirational, and people can learn from not just the things you've done, but also your mindset and your conviction and what you're out to do. That in itself can be enough motivation for people to move forward.
Yeah.
But what we've got today, guys, as you're watching, we've actually got a list of questions we want to ask Marco. just to hear a bit more about him in terms of his career with acting and working in the film production area. And just so that you can get a bit more of a flavour of what he's about and what he's done, so you can learn from him in that area. So Jack's got a list of questions. If you want to start with one of your first questions, Jack.
Yeah. So I guess this question leads on straight from that. Really, is what can you tell us about some of the projects that you're working on right now? Just for the people who maybe aren't too familiar and want a bit of background on you.
The thing about being an actor and also being a producer, director, and a writer is there's a lot of things going on. And you have to be very careful at choosing the right projects, because I get so many projects offered to me, which stops me writing my own projects. It kind of gets in the way. So right now, Legacy of Lies was my hugely biggest project. That was a 7-year project. And it was a 7-year project because the fundraising was very difficult. Very, very, very difficult. And the film changed direction so many times that it took a long time. And finally, we've got a release date of July the 28th, and the cinemas are opening up again. And so that is really taken a lot of my time in terms of the project that I'm finishing off right now. Now, that project has led to many other projects, because now we've got a release date. When that film is shown publicly, there's going to be more opportunities for me, because people are going to see my work. In the past, what I've done, when I went to film school, one of the first projects I did was actually one with Tom. I auditioned for Tom's The Blue Line film, which is an amazing film, and I loved it. And I loved the experience of doing it. And it was one of my first roles. It was one of my first things. So that was an amazing thing to do. So we've got Legacy of Lies. I did The Blue Line. Right now I'm auditioning for quite a few feature films and TV series. One of those TV series I'm the director of, co-writer and acting in is called Three Blind Mice. Yeah. Now that project is an interesting project because we've all seen the Black Lives Matter, the diversity and all this kind of thing, but no one mentions disabled people anywhere along the line. In fact, disabled people are the most underrepresented people in the film world. So Three Blind Mice is about Richard III. Now, Richard III was the first Plantagenet king, and it was a king who was very deformed. He had a very big curvature of the spine. And he died about 500 years ago. And there's a legend that he buried a curse with him where demons were basically on the planet and he was killing them. And when he was killed, he killed the demons and they were all gone. Now, the true story of that is he was actually found in a car park in Leicester 10 years ago. In a public car park.
Yeah.
Of all the places to be found.
Yeah. Which is an incredible story in itself, right? So the TV series is kind of a dark science fiction comedy because it's about them finding his grave and all these demons coming back to life, and only his descendant can actually kill these demons.
Okay.
Now, his descendants are 3 disabled people. One of them is Adam Pearson, who's many people will know him, some people won't know him, but he's got this disease of the face, disfiguration, elephantitis. So he was on Celebrity Mastermind. I saw
that episode. That was great.
Yeah. He's one of the best humans I've ever met. He's an incredibly clever man. And he's one of Richard III's descendant in that TV series, and he wields an axe to kill the demons.
Oh, wow.
One of them has dwarfism. So we're trying to get Warwick Davis. We're talking to him now for that. I'm sure everyone knows Warwick Davis from Star Wars and stuff like that. And the other guy is in a wheelchair, and he's the writer called Simon Sansom. So that's an incredibly amazing opportunity because it's so different to everything else out there. And what I like about projects that really get to me is that it has a real underlying message for people that anything is possible. You don't have to be good looking on Instagram with a bikini body and all this fucking bullshit on social media. People want to see real people. Yeah. And especially people who are disabled, because a lot of people don't understand the disabilities people have when they're disabled, how difficult life is generally to do that, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, some people can't wear a mask because they've got a disease, they can't wear it. You know, they can't wash their hands and a lot of stuff like that. So that's a very, that's a passion project, put it that way. I'm also writing a TV series of my days in sales. So if you imagine Ricky Gervais's The Office, mm-hmm. Well, mine's not going to be called The Office, but it's like a mad version of that because it was a mad time in my life. And literally the things we did was like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in a kind of TV series. So I'm playing the lead in that and also writing it, which is an exciting thing. But basically, what I've learned is to do projects that you're really passionate about. Because if you don't do projects you're passionate about, you're not going to have the passion to see it through.
Yeah, because if you do things that you just feel, oh, I'm just there just because I'm getting paid to do it, or I'm doing it for a favor for a mate. You know, where's the, like you say, where's the conviction? Where's the, with the passion, you're giving it all on you. That's your thing that you need to do sometimes, that you have to do to get that out there in the universe for people to see. Because if you don't, no one else will do it.
And acting's the only thing that I've done that's not for money.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, really, because I don't get paid anything right now acting. But it's the only thing I do that's not for money. And because of that, it's a different scenario for me, because everything I've done normally has been to make shitloads of money and be dead successful. And I've done all that.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you come to a point where, well, is that really it? It doesn't really mean anything anymore. What means something is being an artist and actually getting in a film and telling a story that inspires other people. And that's what I'm all about. So if I can do that more than as much as possible, then that is really the meaning of my life, what it means to me.
Perfect. And to be fair, that links back to a quote that I've always followed: is if you can help enough people get what they want, eventually you get what you want, and it'll come in abundance. You know what I mean? But just going back to Legacy of Lies, I just thought we could quickly talk about how you got to get into that project. What was the original? Who did you meet? Who did you come in contact with? How did you get onto that project?
Great question. It's a long story. I'll cut it short for you. This project started 10 years ago. Now, it wasn't called Legacy of Lies. I was talking to a friend of mine that I'd known for a few years on Facebook. We wrote a script called Tangerine Skies. It was an adventure story. I gave her 25 grand and she disappeared and fucked off with the money and never saw her again.
All right.
Right,
Okay.
So this project is littered with failure and loss.
Yeah.
So then on that particular experience, I met a guy called Victor Soler, who's an actor in Barcelona.
Okay.
Been in a lot of films. Became a close friend of mine. And he introduced me to Adrian Boll, who's the writer and director of Legacy of Lies. Now, I was a bit once bitten, twice shy then because I lost a lot of money. But he said, don't worry, Marco, come to Holland. That's where he was based. Meet him and let's just try and work out if we can do a film together.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Holland. I met Rutger Hauer. Some people won't know that guy because it's going back a bit, but he was the guy in Blade Runner.
Oh, wow.
Blade Runner. And he played the lead antagonist with the blonde hair.
Uh-huh.
Amazing actor. And I met him and I interviewed him, and that was bloody fantastic. That was amazing. Right?
Wow.
So I met him, and we got this script together called Truth 99. And Adrian's wife was Ukrainian, and it was based on a true story of how Russians bombed a building in Kiev and killed about 300 families. So it was a very personal story. So we put a little bit of money and got the PR going. We got a lot of attention because it was very disruptive. But something quite interesting happened. One day, the director called me and said, Marco, are you sitting down? I said, why? What the fuck? He said, no, are you sitting down? He said, sit down. I said, okay, I'm sitting down. He said, listen, your Facebook and Instagram and you are all over Russian news, national TV, all over Russia. And the narrative is that you're going against Putin, you're fucking crazy, and you're going to get killed. And, you know, you're going to lose your life and all that. And I got the tape sent from Russia, translated it, and actually that was it.
Oh my.
It was quite surreal seeing your Facebook and Instagram on Russian news to hundreds of millions of people that went out. And that was the only time in my life I've been scared.
Uh-huh. Oh, well,
Right?
I don't blame you. I would as well.
Yeah. So this was like, it took a while to sink in this. Now, at the same time this was going on, I was very friendly with a Russian girl, a very beautiful Russian woman who I'd been chatting to for about a year. And she said to me one day, can I come and see you? Now, that point, I lived in Malaysia, and I said, of course you can come and see me. I was single, come and see me.
Mm-hmm.
So she stayed with me. She did, you know, we did the rumble bumble and all that kind of stuff. And after we, you know, slept together, she said, I don't think you should make that film.
Okay.
I said, what do you mean? She said, you don't want to be making that film. It's very dangerous and you could lose your life. I said, why? Why are you saying this? She says, because I'm not who I said I was. I'm a Russian agent. I work for FSB. Putin is my cousin. My best-selling weapon is cyanide, and you will die.
My.
Right? And your phones are tapped. And we checked, and all the office phones and my phone were tapped. True story. Now, what do you do in that situation? So my kids said, Dad, don't make the film. So I had to basically bin the film.
Right.
So that's the second time now that I'd lost my dream. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, this like, it must be fate.
Yeah.
It's not happening, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, all calmed down. And we met again and said, listen, why don't we just redo the script to make it a fictional script and we're going to call it Legacy of Lies as an irony to what actually happened behind the scenes.
Okay. That makes sense.
Right? That's why it's called Legacy of Lies. So I had £10,000 left. That was all I had left to make this thing. So we made a trailer. We entered it into the Ukraine Film Foundation Festival. We won the first prize. We won $1 million of funding from the Ukraine government.
Wow.
Pretty fantastic, right?
That's a lot. That's fantastic. That's, you know, a lot of people wouldn't manage to secure £1,000, let alone that substantial amount. So that's a good
$1 million, right? But there was a catch to that money. And the catch was, in order to access that money, we had to get an A-list actor to sign onto the film.
Ooh.
So that means I'd done all my reels and everything like that. I was going to be the lead actor.
Yeah.
So we had to decide then, Marco, do you want to be the lead and go for a smaller film, or do you want to make a bigger film? And I decided, fuck it, I'll be a supporting actor and we'll get the A-list actor. Sounds simple, right?
Yeah.
But then we went for the actors, and that was really difficult because the actors we wanted were all busy filming for like 2 or 3 years. They were all busy making films. And the ones that were available weren't really suitable, and they were costing ridiculous amount of money, you know, between $500,000 and $1 million, which you would have to pay in escrow before you even made the film.
Oh my God.
I'm learning something now, Tom, about feature filmmaking, right? So we couldn't find the actor, and it got to January last year, 2019. It was 2 weeks before we could access the fund, expired. And literally, we managed to get Scott Adkins because he had a movie cancel. We got Scott Adkins signed onto the film. He's not really known in England, but he's known internationally. He's massive internationally. He's got a cult following. He's probably the best martial arts actor in the world right now. And he's got a series called Undisputed Boy. He's got a cult following. He's an amazing fighter. He's been in Expendables, Doctor Strange, all that kind of stuff, but he's known for his martial arts films. It's like the Bruce Lee of today.
Perfect.
So, and he ended up being the perfect choice for the film because we wanted a very action-orientated film. So he signed on. We had to pay him $100,000 in escrow in January. We had no money. Fuck knows how we found the money, Tom. We had to run through walls to get the money.
Oh shit!
Right?
Yeah.
We paid in the money, and then in May last year we started making the film. Now halfway through making the film, we ran out of money, and we had 180 people on the crew. Tom, can you imagine the size of this?
I can't even imagine the stress and the thing.
Yes. So what we had to do, we had to get a new trailer together. What the film we'd done already. We had to fly to Cannes because that Cannes Film Festival was on at the same time. We borrowed someone's yacht. We played the trailer to some prospects, and we sold 5 regions around the world for £300,000 each.
Wow.
Because in film, distribution is another ball game. You have to understand it. In film, what you have to do is sell regions that have the rights to basically put in cinemas and DVD and stuff like that.
Okay.
We get a percentage, but they get most of the percentage. That's the way that film distribution works. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just had to do it.
Just did it anyway.
Did it anyway. So we sold these 5 regions. We made the film. We finished filming in about November. We did the post-edits, the post-production, the sound, the music. And by February, we were ready to release the film. And then the fucking virus came. So we couldn't release the film.
Messed it all up.
Yeah. And we had no money for PR and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then Lionsgate, by the way, is fucking enormous. Lionsgate saw the film and they loved it. And they said, can we be the distributor of it?
Oh, wow.
And that was an amazing fucking day that happened, right? So not many people understand the gravity of that because You know, Lionsgate is huge in this business. And when you've seen the trailer, you see Lionsgate all over the trailer and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That was like, oh my God, it was goosebumps, you know, when that happened. Because when Lionsgate are behind it, it means they're going to push it all over the place.
All the way as well, all the way.
Yeah, all the way. So now we have a release date of July the 28th. That's on digital streaming on Amazon Prime and iTunes, but only in the USA.
Oh, okay.
Because the way it's very regional, the way it works. Now, I've bought the rights for 2 countries, Malaysia and India, in Asia. And I collect 50% of the tickets when people go to the cinema to watch that film.
Oh, wow.
And I had to find £50,000 to buy the rights for my own film in those countries.
Oh, my.
To be able to do that.
In total, for each one, for each country?
Each one was 25 grand.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Right? And of course, that was a risk because with the way the virus was going, it didn't look like the cinemas were going to open at all this year, right?
Yeah.
So we bought the rights, we made a calculated guess, it paid off. Now, the reason I bought the rights in Malaysia is because Ip Man 4, you may not know that film, but it's a series of films about the origins of Bruce Lee and his teacher, which is hugely popular. And it made £30 million in Malaysia. It was the biggest film in Malaysia before the lockdown.
Wow.
So Scott Adkins was the lead actor in that film.
Oh, there you go. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So isn't it funny and interesting how things work out?
It all comes back round.
Yeah. What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
So now that's all secure now. Now we're basically organising the release date of that and the PR and stuff to get in the cinemas because we now know all the people in cinema. And that's going to be released in 600 theatres in Malaysia in August and September.
That's going to be, if that pays off, and obviously it goes how you want to forecast it, that's going to be a good day. A fantastic day, not only financially, but also for yourself as well and everyone involved, because you'll be seen by that many people.
Yes, exactly. So my belief is, if I'm going to do something, do it fucking big. Don't fuck about. Go for something big. Yes, do small films for practice and experience, but you've got to have a fucking target. You've got to do something big. You've got to have the vision to do it. Otherwise, what's the point? You're going to be lost. No one's going to know who you are. You know, I only started fucking acting last year. So when people say to me, well, you know what, Marco, you've not been acting very long and this, that, and the fucking other. These are people that are never going to get anywhere. Right? So one of the things in life is don't fucking listen to the naysayers. I had actors talking to me that've been in the business 20 years but got fucking nowhere telling me what to do.
Yeah.
You know? Right. So, and you get all these people, oh, it's all lovey-dovey and you're not an artist yet and you've not proven yourself and all that kind of bullshit. Cinema and film is 50% business and 50% art. So if you fuck up one or the other, you're not going to make a good film. Or no one's going to see it, right? So that's the story of Legacy of Lice.
It's one hell of a story.
Yes.
I think if you were to film behind the scenes or a making of or how this came about, it would just be as engaging as the actual film itself.
Well, real life is more engaging than film. You know, when that Russian agent came to see me, it was just like out of a James Bond film.
Wow.
But it was so much more real because she was there.
Yeah, you're involved.
I was involved. And I had this, I mean, you've no idea how beautiful she was. I mean, incredibly beautiful. And when I was filming in Kiev in May, I had this phone call to my room. I said, Marco, it's Anastasia. I said, who's that? She said, it's Anastasia. You know, I came to stay with you. I'm in your hotel in your lobby. Come down to see me, please. I didn't tell anyone where I was. So I went down and had lunch with her, and she said, I'm here just to check it and you're not making the same film. Right? So you don't fuck about with the Russians.
Because I'll find you.
This kind of added a lot of grit and extra edge to the film, to be fair. Right? So it actually made it a better film because of the real life aspect behind the scenes. I don't advise anyone to do that, by the way, because don't risk your life. All right?
This is a don't try at home scenario.
No, it's not life risking, especially when you've got families and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, it all paid off, and that's happening. But that is that story. Yeah.
Wow, it's just brilliant because ever since I met you and I've heard that story, and you obviously told me again, like it's just a lot of the time you don't really get to hear that, do you? All you see is what's shown. You get to see some of the behind the scenes of big films and stuff. You don't really hear that what really goes on and all those kind of things to face, especially from your point of view as well in the kind of situation you were in. So I think if someone was to try and follow that same path, I guess you got to understand they are going to face challenges time and time again. But if they stick it out, you're a prime example of how it can pay off in such a big way. But if you give up, then you'll never see it, will you? Yeah.
I could have said, no, I'm not going to do it now. And that, and never do film again. But if I was a weak-minded person, But the bigger you go in, the bigger failures you're going to have and the bigger challenges you're going to have. And you've got to take it by the balls and go, fuck you. No way you're stopping me doing this. And that's the attitude you've got to have. Mm-hmm. And that's the way that's in life. You live once. You've got to do what you want to do. The amount of people that die not doing what they want to do is pandemic, Tom. That's really the pandemic,
Well, it's how they say the graveyard is the most wealthy place on the planet, because you could go to Dubai, you've got all this money, but if you go to the graveyard, all those untold stories, unachieved goals, unwritten books that you could find, it's ridiculous. But no, that sounds fantastic. And the fact that you've been able to make it and its payoff is, despite the lockdown, all those things, is brilliant. Yeah. So I can't believe the fact that you've been able to achieve that. But no, that sounds fantastic, and I hope everyone who's watching it is really feeling the same way. And I thought, if you had a few more questions, Jack, if you want to touch on those.
Yeah, just before I do, I just want to say that I think that mentality that you're touching upon there, Marco, it sounds distant maybe for the film students, and I know there's a lot of film students watching this, but just like to hear your opinion maybe on so many student films are really similar, but it's that selection of student films that go above and beyond, and that you look at and you think, I wouldn't think that's a student film. So I think that mentality of going above and beyond, pushing it to the limit and just going for it is so relevant to anyone in their career. It's
very interesting because you see there's two arguments here. One argument is you have to go to film school, university, and study, and then you get into film and do the bet, and you'll be the fucking A-lister, right? The other side of it is the street smart side of it. And I'll give you a couple of stories to inspire you. Last week, this is very topical, right? Now, I talked to one person last week who had the #1 film in the US box office last week. Would you like to know the story?
Yes.
Okay. So these guys filmed a film on Zoom, right, with 5 actors, a horror film, and the film was called Unsubscribe.
Oh, wow.
Right? And you can Google it and you can find out all about this. They had no fucking money, nothing, and they rented a theatre for $10 in New England, where they live. There was nobody in the theatre, just those 2 guys, and they sold a ticket for $1 each to watch the Zoom film. They raised $25,000, and they had the #1 box office in the USA in the lockdown.
Wow.
Right? Wow. So how inspiring is that?
It just shows that there really is no excuse, is there?
There is no excuse. That's fucking genius, guys. Right? And the more adversity you have, the more resourceful you can be. Well, hang on a minute, I can't do it this way, so I'm going to do it this fucking way because no one else has thought of that. You see, when you have adversity, you've got to try different strategies, because everyone else thinks that film, you have to get it in a cinema, right? There are different ways of doing things. I know many film students, and I love film students because they go with the passion, they do what they want to do. They love what they do. I'll give you another example, James Cameron. Has anyone heard of James Cameron?
No, they should have done.
Well,
I hope so.
James Cameron, Terminator, Titanic. What was that film called with the aliens in it? I mean, the blue people, Avatar. I was watching him on Howard Stern last week, and he said that he used to be a truck driver in Los Angeles, and he never went to film school. And what his job was to pick up the recyclable paper from the University of California. And he went to the film department, and he used to read all the dissertations that the film students actually submitted to get the degree.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He read all that, and he made Terminator.
Wow.
Didn't even fucking go to film school. Can you
I think
fucking believe that? He was 25, he was a fucking truck driver, and he made Terminator.
Wow.
Right?
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that the things you're saying, you're both touching on, the fact that you're just giving those examples, I think a lot of this stems from the film industry is a brilliant example, is that there's always this case of saying that's how it's always been, that's how it always will be, you have to do that. And I've been on a film media course for 3 years, and throughout those entire 3 years, they told me you have to be a runner. You can't be anything else. That's how you get in. If you don't, there's no chance. You have to do that for several years, and you might not even get the chance to get to where you want to be, but you have to be a runner. That's basically making sandwiches, teas, doing all these different things for people, right? And as soon as he said that to me, I thought, no, to me personally, that's not right, because like you say, you can go off and do this if there are avenues available. So if you're a film student watching, then, use this now as an example. If all you're hearing is, you have to do this, do that, that's how it's always been, try to change your mindset and try to block that out, because Marco here, prime example, done all those different things around the world. Myself and Jack are trying to get over that norm and try and do different things, different avenues. If you're a film student or someone who's trying to get into this kind of thing, do what no one else is doing. Look at what they're not doing, go and do it. And do your own unique, use your own strengths to get to that place. Because if you do, you'll be a Marco. You'll get to that area. But if you don't, you'll be someone who's forgotten about.
Yeah, and it's all about your vision. It's not about what you have to study. It's your vision that pulls you through. That's the inspiration. There's desperation and inspiration. They're the only fucking two things to get you to take action, right? So the guys that I talked to in America last week that made that film Unsubscribe, I reached out to them on Instagram. They fucking replied to me, and they want to put me in the next film.
Oh, wow.
What the
Fantastic.
fuck? Right? But it's only because I reached out to them. No one else is doing that. Because I don't believe in obstacles, and I believe anything's possible. And they're begging me now to be in the next film, and they want to co-produce a big film with me.
Wow.
So, and they know about my Legacy Lies story, and they said, wow, that's amazing. So you never think you're not good enough, guys. Seriously. And this is a deep part of people's mental DNA. They think they're not good enough. You are good enough if you have the courage to reach out to people and say, fuck, that was amazing. I'd love to work with you. 90% will say no. Some will say yes.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this and you're hearing this, and you're thinking, we're being quite naive, because myself and Jack are still young, we're still fresh in this year. Marco, like you say, you probably haven't had the 20 years experience.
I started in film last year, Tom.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So that's what I mean. So those who are watching, if you're thinking we're being quite naive and we're going at this, the reason we're saying these kind of things quite bluntly and quite over the top is just to inspire you, just to motivate you. And just to provide examples that there are different avenues to go about. So if you are thinking it would be quite naive, and obviously there are processes you have to go through, we're only saying this to try and motivate you. So that's what we're doing.
Also, I don't think we are being naive in this, because
of course not. No.
So me and you, Tom, have both had success that has been very good. I'm in talks to edit for 3 feature films. Now,
well, that's amazing, isn't it?
Considering that I only finished uni a month ago.
Yeah.
Yes, they're not huge feature films, but you know what? Who cares? They're feature films, and they are a way to get into what I want to do. They're a tool, and they get me. So that's the plan that I've set in motion.
Yeah.
So yes, it'd be very easy for some people to say, "Oh, well, you're naive. You've only done this for a year, or you've only done this for 3 years." But it's also saying, just like with you, Mark, you've done this for 1 year, and look at what you've managed to achieve.
Yeah.
And it is a testament to a mindset, to a really strong mindset.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you are in university, those university teachers that are lecturing you are not fucking in film. They're teaching you. They're not massively successful in film, so they are going to tell you you're going to have to be a runner. You're going to have to do fucking this. Fuck you. You're a university fucking lecturer. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not doing what you say we should be doing. So this is the thing about school. If you are listening to people that have not got what you want, stop listening and listen to people that have. It's a big difference.
I think it's important not to completely trash film schools, because they're helpful if you are using it, if you're going through it for a reason, but that is not good. That is not your golden ticket to success. I think
it's there for a purpose to learn about film. I love film school. I think it's an amazing thing. But what I'm saying is, don't think that's going to be the ticket to get what you really want, to hit the big time. It's not. Because the people that hit the big time didn't fucking go to university, school, or anything like that. That's normally what happens. Also, people that did go to film school did hit it big.
Like George Lucas.
But I'm just saying.
You go to film school.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't depend on that. Correct, Jack?
Yeah. No. I think that's the important thing there. Yeah. I just wanted to clear up.
Well, because just speaking like myself and Jack, we actually been to a great film school.
Yeah.
And there's a big stereotype that going to film school is to be avoided. I've seen so many online courses that have been promoted using that as the selling point, saying film school's a waste of time. Why don't you do this?
Yes.
From me for $50 and you can learn from me. And I'm like, hold on, that's just a selling point. A lot of people fall for that, and there's a stereotype that's not. So me and Jack have been to a great film school, and we're speaking from a qualified standpoint to say, yeah, these different things. But what I thought I'd mention, guys, is I love how we're not talking about the details about film. It's funny how we've come back around to the mindset, and that's what it's all about.
It's 95% of what you do. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because
and I think people watching, like, you know, if you realise what we're talking about now, we've naturally come to the standpoint of it's the mindset. We could be talking about all the different avenues we could go up to, couldn't we? But have you noticed how naturally we've come to the mindset?
I don't know about cameras, how to hold one, what the fuck to do. I don't give a fuck. I still get the result I want, but I do know visually what I want.
Yeah.
Well, I'll work with the DOP to do that as a director. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I will leverage people's expertise to get what I want and create a vision that transcends on screen. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, and that's the thing that takes much longer to develop. You know, it's easy to learn a camera or learn a software. That can take a week or so, if that. But that mindset is the thing that does need a bit of thought and does require a bit of time to mature itself. So yeah, that's
the bottom line again. You got to believe in yourself. It's all about belief. And the final book comes down to you. You've got to take responsibility, because a lot of people think, oh, it's all the people are going to help me. They're fucking not, because it's not their dream.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that I think film students run into. You know, they've worked on a film for months, even for years, and they're trying to persuade. They just expect locations to give them their location, or they just expect cast to whatever. And it's kind of like, no, you've got to be prepared. I don't know what the conclusion of that sentence is. Maybe you could finish that for me. But yeah, I don't know what people expect it to just happen. Because they're passionate about it, they expect other people to be really passionate about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It comes back again to the mindset and the vision. You have a vision. You know what you want. You've got to communicate that to the right people to get it done. And you've got to run.
Do you think that's why you've had success then? Because you've had a strong vision, and people are much happier to follow someone with that vision and that mindset because you know what you want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is clarity. And people follow people that have got clarity. They're called leaders, right? And, you know, people love to be around people like that because it inspires them to get their dream with clarity and get what they want to do and execute it. So, you know, that's what it's all about. And, you know, even at the weekend I was on this Netflix drama, the director didn't know what the fuck they were doing. I mean, I had to do a take a ridiculous amount of times when I could have done it twice. So sometimes you're not to get things done. Don't expect that in Netflix or feature films, the directors are like, oh my God, these are amazing. They're not necessarily there as the experts. They're there because they know somebody.
Yeah.
Am I making sense right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Film is incredibly political, right? And now we come back to the casting couch, okay? Because I'm going to give me my fucking views on that. And that casting couch goes on, and it's prolific today, still. All this hashtag Me Too bullshit, you know? These actors that got a lot of money, they did things to get parts. They wouldn't have said that before when they hadn't got any money, right? I'm saying right now it still goes on. It's incredibly political. And if you don't do things on your own, you are going to have to follow that political path to get what you want.
Yeah. I guess it's the way of the world, isn't it? There's certain processes that have been set up over many years, which, like you say, unless you follow that certain set of rules, that certain procedure, that way of working, you're not going to get where you want to go. And sometimes, you know, you either have to out of necessity, or you can go your own way, like you say, and get around that. And
There is. I mean, it's like Ricky Gervais is a great example of that. You know, he said, you know, he's interviewed all the time. Do you go to auditions? He said, no, I don't go to auditions. I write my own fucking stuff. Then I guarantee to get the part. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you watch the film The Godfather, the first Godfather, and they're trying to get one of their family to be in this film, and the director doesn't want fucking this person in the film. So what they do is they fucking cut the horse's head off and put it on his pillow next to him, and he wakes up in the morning with a fucking horse's head next to him, as in, you better put this person in the film, you can die, right?
Yeah.
So this is what Hollywood is like, you know? And you've got to understand that is the landscape. And you're only going to get what you want if you are prepared to basically run through those walls and do whatever it takes to do it.
So actually, I agree with every point you said, especially in regards to those kind of things. But I thought, touching on the back of that, I thought we could just ask you about and talk about what kind of advice and tips would you give to film students watching, but also actors looking to get on projects done by film students, on how to work to achieve the best results, and what you would personally expect from going on a project like that? What would you want out of that?
Okay, so the first thing as a beginning actor. Now, this is a really good question, because as I was in London as an acting student, I can tell you some great advice. All of the class that I was in, apart from one or two, looked down the nose at student films.
Okay.
I don't want to do a student film. I'm an actor. I'm an artist. This is beneath me, right? So most of them did that. I didn't say a fucking word. What I did is I applied for auditions. One of yours was yours, Tom. Okay. And one of the first auditions I went to, and no one else was going to it, I went to it. I went on this train. It took me an hour on the tube to get there. I wasn't very well. I shit myself on the tube twice, right? Got to the audition, had to clean myself off, walked into the audition. I said, right, I'm here to play this role. I said, no, that's not your part. It was not I had to play another part while I was there. I got the role. I didn't know what the fuck it was about. And then then I got on the set, and it was a big fucking commercial for Harry Gallagher of his new clothing range. He's got like 5 million YouTube fans. And I met Harry. We had a great time. It was that is what you have to do, because that opportunity happened from nowhere. And when I told my acting colleagues, they went, oh, really? How did you do that? How did you do that? And I told them. So, you know, when you're beginning as an actor, you need as much experience as you can get. So you go to every fucking student film audition you can, and you get there and you do the fucking hard work and the struggle, and you get on film, right? It's an amazing, I love student films. Yes, there are shit films that you don't want to be a part of. I mean, I did a couple of films, didn't even work out. It just never came out, you know? But the most important thing is get yourself on a film set and get experience and learn lines, be in front of a camera, and be an actor. Be the fucking actor. Stop going to acting school every fucking day and expecting the teachers to teach you how to get into film. It doesn't work like that. You know, the people that are teaching you at acting school can't even get work themselves. What the fuck? So, do you know what I'm saying? So as an actor, that's what you've got to do. You've got to be very goal orientated and just go for it and believe in yourself. Back again to the mindset. If you are a film student, you want to make films, get onto a project. If you can't think of what project, collaborate with someone who has a project and add as yourself as a team member and be part of the team. Be a fucking runner, be a key grip, be a focus puller, be one of the producers, be the fucking editor, be the sound person, whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter, because you need to have experience. If you're not going to get experience, you're not going to get anywhere. So both sets of rules apply to each side of it. Get experience and drop the ego. Definitely drop the ego.
Brilliant. Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe
Go on.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Jack.
I think maybe that's why there is the advice about being a runner initially, is to force you to drop the ego.
Yeah.
But I think that just getting any experience will help with that.
I mean, even if you can't get on, even if you can't be part of the film, be an extra, help behind the scenes. Because one of the best, my favorite place in the world is on a film set. It's the most amazing feeling in the world. Most people don't understand that. It's the most amazing thing because anything can happen. It's your imagination. It's like you're in a fantasy every day. And to be a part of that world is an incredible thing. It's an incredible privilege. And, you know, as a beginner filmmaker, ask the people there, listen, can I come and watch you make the film? Can I make some sandwiches? Can I do this and that? Get on the fucking film set. That's your objective when you're a beginner.
Yeah. Well, it's the foundations, isn't it? If you're going to climb the staircase, you start with the first step. You're not going to jump up it or fly up there, are you?
Absolutely.
You have to start with the menial tasks.
Yeah. And now the other advice I want to give while I'm thinking about this is when you're an actor, get onto great platforms like the best platform out there. You know, we're talking about Mandy Spotlight and all this kind of stuff, right? The best platform out there is Backstage. I get all my work from Backstage. And the three jobs I just got, I didn't even apply for them. They found me. Right? Now, Backstage is very American, so I've had to learn an American accent, which I can do now. But again, as an actor, you have to be able to learn an American accent because 80% of your work is fucking American films. So if you don't learn American, you're cutting yourself off to 80% of your opportunities, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Backstage is absolutely the best. It's phenomenal, that place. You don't need a fucking agent. That's another thing. Oh, I need an agent before I can get any work. No, you fucking don't. I haven't got an agent. Right? So it's not about having an agent. It's about finding the opportunities. Now, I've just got an agent in Los Angeles that I just talked to a few days ago, and they signed me up for America. But I wouldn't rush into getting an agent because a lot of agents are crap and they don't put you forward. So, you know, just get out there and get on. And Mandy was really good for me for student films. It's brilliant. I met you on there, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Without Mandy, I would not have met you, you know? And you can put your own, if you're filmmaking, put your own project, cast for actors. It's fucking easy, you know?
Just want to mention about the just about that agents thing. It's exactly the same thing that people go into film school with. They think that an agent is their golden ticket to success.
Yeah, and it's not at all. You know, I'm not even on Spotlight. I got rejected twice for Spotlight. I'm not even on Spotlight, right? And people say in the acting world, if you're not on Spotlight, you'll never get any work. Well, actually, people in America have never fucking heard of Spotlight. They go, Spotlight, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? So you can see how there's a lot of false beliefs in the industry. And there's a lot of people that think there is a certain thing, but actually it's not true, you know? It's bullshit.
Exactly. And we're not saying all this because to the viewers watching, we're not saying this because we think we're experts. We're not saying this because we think we're,
not at all. You
know, we're the authority on this. We're saying this because one, we've done it. We've gone out there and actually done this. And two, because we want you to do it as well.
Yes.
You know, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I haven't done this, or, you know, I think that kind of resonates with me as well. You know, let's get up and let's help each other. Let's get the success we all want and work together. That's what we're all here for. So like I say, we're not saying this because we're experts. We're saying it because we want you to do it as well. That's
what we are here for. But you know, Tom and Jack, a lot of people have got the mindset, well, I'm not going to tell you what projects I'm working on because they're jealous that you might take it from them. That's very small-mindedness. And this industry is about networking. It absolutely boils down to networking. The more film sets you get on, the more people you can talk to and get to know you, and they'll put you forward for films because it's the casting directors that put you forward, not the fucking filmmakers. The casting directors put you forward to the directors, and casting directors are on film sets all the fucking time, right? So get out of your mind that, oh, you know, I'm going to keep this project secret. The more you collaborate, the more jobs you're going to get. It's really that simple.
Yeah. I think that's a wider point as well about putting your work out there generally, right? It's, you know, so many young filmmakers and especially student filmmakers, they don't release their films. They don't have a platform at all. They might have one private Instagram, which they post occasional pictures on. And I made a film last semester or in September that was a World War II film. And I attribute a lot of the success of that film due to the fact I was putting it out there so much. And I knew if I'd have been all it's an ego thing, isn't it? You think, oh, I'm not
It
going
is,
to
yeah.
tell anyone about this project.
I'm an artist. I don't need to go on social media, right?
Exactly.
How many times have you heard that line?
Mm. But, you know, with this film, I was in the bar, the student bar, and someone working behind the bar said, oh, I've seen your post on Facebook. I'm really looking forward to your film. Never met this person before in my life. Don't know their name. I still don't. And it's like, that's advertising, and it's putting your work out there.
Well, that brings us on to another point. You see, a lot of actors, especially actors, they've got this stigma with social media. Oh, I don't need to learn that. Yes, you fucking do. Yes, you fucking do. If you don't learn social media and you don't get yourself out there, like you said, Jack, who the fuck's going to see your work?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on social media. Even more so now, twice as many people are on social media than before the lockdown. There is more demand for content now than any other time in history. Netflix has ran out of content. TV, they've got, like, they're not making soap operas. They've got no content. They're playing repeats. So there's more content for actors now needed and filmmakers than any other time. It's like a dream industry to be in right now, you know?
Mm.
Mm. That's right.
So yeah, a final note to actors that think they're too good for social media. Fuck you, no you're not. Get on there. I make all my connections on social media. Without that, I would not be anywhere near where I am now. There's no way. And like you said, Jack, that was a brilliant statement you made. I had to put my stuff on social media, and suddenly the stranger came up, saw my film, said it was brilliant. Isn't that inspirational?
Mm.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, it was pretty good. Like, it was, you know, I mean, it's only a student at the bar, but you know what? It suddenly just validates what you're doing.
Yes.
If you actually, like, someone is seeing this, they're enjoying it, and you know, I made that, and it was a really great feeling. And it was one of those. It was exactly what you just said, that when you abandon your ego, it's more than your pride. It is your ego, and you say, you know what, I've got to advertise myself. I've got to say what projects I'm doing. It's ironic that the people who put their work out there are the lucky ones. You know, the people where success finds them a bit more. And there's a reason for it. People need to know what you're doing. Don't
let anybody dim your light. And one of the things you have to do as an actor and a filmmaker is master social media. And most actors haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing on social media. They post once a week with a headshot. Do you know what I mean? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You've got to be posting like 5 times a day, guys, on your story.
Yeah.
And, you know, really pushing yourself, because that's how you get out there. And I'm an example. I've been in film a year, right? Look what I'm doing.
Yeah. It just shows it's possible. It's like the guy who ran the first mile under 4 minutes. Before that time, all the scientists were telling him, it's not possible, your body can't achieve that. He ran the mile in under 4 minutes. Over 20,000 people have done that, including high school students.
Yes.
Before that time, no one thought it was possible. Took one person to do it, 20,000 people have done it now. So what's the one thing you could do that people are telling you can't do, that you can't do this, that's not right, that what's not possible? Go and do it, and let's get the other 20,000 people going and do that as well. Yeah. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. That's exactly what this group is all about, isn't it? Yeah. It's about sharing those stories.
It's about the hustle. It's about how bad do you fucking want it? And that's really the bottom line. How bad do you want to be successful in film? If you don't know, you're not going to make it. You've got to want it so fucking bad you can taste it every day. It's all you think about. And you will make it by following people like us and other people like us who are already doing it, that are not at the top, blah, 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 it doesn't matter, but are already proving it, hanging around with people that have got what you want. That's the only way you're going to do it.
Mm. Mm. And off the back of that, you know, we've talked about the kind of things that the kind of vision we need to get to where we want to go. Is there anyone particular in the industry right now that you personally would like to work with or get in contact with to work alongside them? Because of that reason.
One example of that is the people last week I contacted in America that had a #1 film called Unsubscribe. Mm-hmm. People like that are inspirational as fuck. I love the ingenuity of that. But I reached out straight away. I want to work with them. Those are the people I want to work with. And also I want to work with the people that want to work with me. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Those are the people that I want to work with. If I'm constantly chasing people to work with them and they ignoring me, that's just a fucking waste of time. Yeah. So It's not that they're bad or anything like that. They're busy. It's because they don't know me yet. So here's the deal, guys. Work so hard that you no longer have to introduce yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Just
Is this-
walk in the room and they know who you are based on your performance,
Yes.
based on what you do. Because it's like they say, judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not by the fruit it talks about.
Yes.
You know, you don't have. You could do all this preparation. You could work so hard. You don't have to say a word, and people want to work with you. They know what you're about. So you're very right. You're very right there.
Isn't it the case? People want to work with inspirational people. That's it. That's the answer to that question. You want to be around successful people. You don't want to be around fucking negative, moaning ass people. All they talk about is, it wasn't my fault. They're an asshole and it wasn't meant to be. No, it's your fucking fault. Wake up. So one of the things you've got to do in life, one of the most difficult things, is to get rid of people that are not getting you what you want. And some of those are your family, by the way. You know, I divorced most of my family. Thank fucking God I did that, because they stopped me getting what I wanted. They would always hold me back and say, and all it was jealousy, you know? And that's a huge thing within families. Like, oh, you know, the family is different. I said, no, it fucking isn't different. They're stopping you getting what you want. So fucking do what you need to do.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's not families are obviously good for some things, but I know exactly what you mean, that if they're holding you back like that,
yeah.
And I think certainly within the arts, there are a lot of families do still hold their back. I know in my life, it took a long time before my family understood film, and they realized that this is a career, this is a perfectly viable career, and it takes some families never come to that realization.
Well, they're afraid, aren't they, that because film is like risky, you're not going to make any money in it. So they kind of tell you to get a real job, be an accountant, being a lawyer. Don't go into film, there's no money, you're not going to have any job, and we're going to have to give you money all the time. They're kind of afraid, right? Yeah. But really, see, all these tests is really God's, the way I look at it is, God is testing you and asking you, do you really want this? He's giving you another challenge. Do you really fucking want this? And if you overcome the challenge again and again and again, he gives you what you need.
Yeah,
because you earned it. You fucking earned it, you know?
That's really good.
And then when you do get it, it gives you the ability to say, look, guys, this is how we get to this place. Follow me. This is how we get there, you know? And I found that, you know, listening from yourself, listening from Jack, listening to others and doing my own experiences. Once you get to a certain stage and you earn that, you achieve that, you've almost paved the way for other people to follow behind. Say, look, yeah, this is how you do it. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Whereas before, no one had a clue on that particular thing. So what you say, I completely agree.
I mean, the future didn't just happen; it was created. Always remember that. We always create the future, and you know, when you achieve certain milestones, you find that the energy level's higher. You're hanging around with different people, you're not even really noticed it. You know what I mean, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? I know that's definitely the case with you and Jack, probably. But for me, definitely, you know, it's so true that the circles just change because you're going in a different direction.
It does. Now, I think it feeds into everything. And I think one of the things I wanted to mention and talk about, being a film student who's just recently, you know, graduated and done all these different things. An example of that is, over the past 3 years, I've been building up a business on the side of my university studies. I was told, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing that? You know, you have to wait until you finish to do a business. You don't know anything about business. I thought, no, because it's something I want to do. Throughout the past 3 years, I've been doing the media studies. I went into a separate business course, which I would do at night time. I've also got another voluntary job. So whilst people were going out enjoying themselves drinking, I was doing that, making a business, building a network up, like you say, networking. So now I've come to a point where I've got a business. I've graduated from university. I've done all these different things. And I can say, look, this is how you do it. I've got people asking me now, how do I do that? The same people who were saying, oh, no, don't try that. That's not the way. Wait until you've graduated and then you'll be fine then. The same people saying that are now asking, how do I make my business? How do I do it? Well, it's too late now.
And if you listen to them, how would you feel about that now?
I wouldn't be there. That's what I mean. And the reason I'm saying that for the viewers watching is not to go, oh, look at me. The reason I'm saying that is because, you know, I've had to sacrifice going out and having fun with my friends, had to sacrifice drinking. I would have loved I would have loved to have gone out partying all night every week, getting tipped drunk, meeting girls and stuff, even though I've got a girlfriend now, but if I was doing that. But no, I sacrificed all of that to work on what I was doing. So now it's paid off. It's paid off for Marco. It's paid off for Jack in doing this. It's paid off for everyone who tries that.
Absolutely.
So if you're watching this and, like I say, you're thinking we're hard on their nose, quite blunt, and it's all a little bit, it's not. We want you to do this. This is why we're talking about it. And it's natural. The conversation has naturally come to that because there's a natural order to things, and that's the way it goes. So I think it's great. If you're a film student, just go for it. Do things that your friends aren't doing. Hook up with the ones who are professional, the ones who are working hard, and you'll get you where you want to be.
It takes the same amount of energy to get what you're not, to not getting what you want, to get what you do want. It takes the same amount of energy. In fact, it takes less energy to get what you want than fucking about, moaning, and keep trying and again and again and again, and it not working. It takes less fucking energy. It's amazing.
Yeah. Are you more satisfied?
I think that was important what you were saying there, Tom. That I think one of the key things is sort of merging what we've been saying a while, is to hang around with people you find inspirational. If there's someone in the course at university or just generally in life who you find inspiring, send them a message. If you see them in the library, go up to them and ask them, how do you do it then? Just if you just spend 5 minutes with someone who you find really inspirational, then you could really you could learn a lot, and you can stop then wondering, and you can start knowing, and you can start learning from them. And I think that there's a lot of secret work and that the grind of it. So many people don't see, when people are working in the library or working wherever they work, they don't see you working until 12 at night, making those emails or designing that website. All they see is the finished product, and they say, wow, isn't this person amazing? It's like, no, I spent weeks, months, years of my time doing this. And it's all secret. No one tells anyone about that. So there's so much of that secret graft, isn't there?
It's all about the grind and the hustle. You've got to be in love with that grind.
Yeah.
And the great thing about today is yes, you can approach people in real life in the libraries and in the university and stuff, but also you can approach people on social media, because Instagram is a direct message fucking anyone. Anyone. You can DM any fucking motherfucker in the world. They're not all going to reply. Some fucking will. And they reply to me, So you can reach out to anyone. Never before has it been so easy to contact people. You've just got to have the right message.
Yeah.
The
right will to do it.
Yeah.
But the ones watching, I hope it's struck a chord with you. Anything that we've said, I hope it's motivated you. I hope it's inspired you. Because that's what we're saying it for. We wouldn't say it otherwise, because we're passionate, as you can probably tell. That's why we're here. And I thought we could reel it back a bit and just talk about some of the weird experiences you might have had, Marco. Obviously you've mentioned some of the challenging bits and some of the scary bits. But what are some of the negative bits that you've come across? Working with a director, for example, or a student film, or where you thought, what, this is a bit uncomfortable, this is a bit weird. What are some of those experiences?
Well, there's a lot of those. I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head, being on a film set, sometimes it doesn't go to plan. Okay. So you'll try and get a scene done, and it just doesn't work. And that's kind of weird, because you've got to recreate the scene. But you've also got to have the flexibility to adapt and be willing on the spot to change that. And that's what you see on the camera in film is not what happens behind, because sometimes they'll recut, they'll change the director. You'll have a writer's difference on the script, which I've had with people, and I've left a film. Sometimes the film never gets made. I made a student film, and the editor wasn't bothered even learning the software, so it never got made. So I had to get the film and do it myself. These kind of things. Lots of weird things like that. But it doesn't just happen in student films. It happens in big films also, Being on a film set is not what you think it is at all. You know this, Tom, and you know that, Jack. it's not where you have a great time, but it's not, in filmmaking, it takes hours and hours and hours to cut one scene. So sometimes you're waiting around. I mean, I was on the final scene of Legacy of Lies. I went to this location in Peckham at 8:00 at night. My scene didn't actually start until 10 a.m. the following morning.
Oh my!
Because the thing changed along the way,
Yeah.
Well, that's also part of the fun of it, I guess.
Wow. Brilliant. Yeah, because I think that people are always looking for the positive things or the key to the good things, and like you say, there will be things that happen, like especially on student films. I've heard a lot of those actors dropping out, people dropping out, and the whole project has gone, it's collapsed underneath them. All these different things happening. These things will happen, and use every opportunity as a positive. So like you say, if the camera wasn't recording, you just did one of the best performances you felt that you've done in a long time, but the camera wasn't recording because the student camera forgot to press it.
That happened in Legacy of Lies. One scene in a bank, and they forgot to fucking press record. You've lost one day, lost the whole day. And sometimes the camera doesn't. You press the button, it doesn't work. Some things like that.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was on the film with you, Tom, and the Blue Line, and there was one scene, the scene before mine, that you did like 37 takes.
Yeah.
So I'm like sitting there for hours and hours and hours going, right? And eventually at 10 o'clock at night, I would arrive at 10 in the morning, but I didn't start the scene till 10 at night. Do you remember that?
I do, yeah. So just a bit of story behind that. Yeah, that's very true. Just a bit of story behind that one's watching. We made a police film, and Marco was in the film. And one of the scenes we were doing, it was at night time because it had to be night. And it was all in one shot. So being a student, I wanted to push myself again, do something different. I wanted to do the whole scene in one shot. It was very technical. And the very last scene after that was Marco's. And all things were happening. The focusing on the camera wasn't working. The batteries were running out, even though we charged them. All things weren't working. So we eventually managed to get, several hours later, managed to get there. When we got to Marco's scene, despite him waiting and being very patient, he gave it his all. There's a scene now with him doing it, and you can watch that, of him giving such a raw type performance, despite having to wait. Because he understood those things were going to happen. He understood that, this is the case and this is what it's like. Despite my best efforts to try and speed it up, he knew that. And I know a lot of people who would, after 1 hour, after 30 minutes, would think, you know what? No, and would give up and wouldn't give their best performance. You know what I mean? So that's a great example, yeah. And it's a very real example.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So you want to understand those things are going to come. If you're an actor, film student, whoever, those things are going to happen, and you have to overcome those and have a positive mindset with the goal in mind, and just do it for the love, the passion of it, because that's what you're doing.
I guess I've got a question following that. This was on my list for you, Marco. What's the worst thing a director has ever said to you, or that you have witnessed a director saying to crew or to actors?
The worst thing a director ever said to me was, I'm going to cut 37 of your scenes.
Oh my.
Before or after you shot them?
So I had a massive argument on set, and one of the actors I was working with was trying to cut my scenes as well.
Really?
Yeah, so I had a massive row on set.
Oh my goodness.
And I really, because that was really fucking personal, that. So I had a massive row with the director and the actor, and we worked it out in the end. So the message in that is, you've got to stand your ground.
Was this before or after you'd shot the scenes?
This was before, the day before the scenes were supposed to be shot.
Wow.
Good.
For example, there's another story of that. On the latest Bond film, No Time to Die, which hasn't been released yet, Grace Jones was going to be in that film.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah, I saw that news.
Yeah. So Grace Jones, a lot of people won't know her, but she's an amazing, amazing personality, fantastic singer, a bit back in the day. And she was in a film called View to a Killer, Roger Moore. She was going to make an appearance in this one. Mm. And they decided to cut her scene. So she said, you motherfuckers, don't cut my fucking lines. Fuck you. And she fucked off from the set. Well, fair enough, because she's a big star. So she can demand If she said, and she's right, because if they're going to cut scenes and there's not in the contract and they're going to cut it, it's fucking wrong. You've got to stand your ground.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, because especially on a big film like a Bond film, you would expect there to be competent writers so that they know that every scene that's in the film needs to be there. Yes, obviously things get cut all the time, but if you're on set and you're thinking, we'll probably cut this, like, surely that's part of the craft of the writing team.
It is, but you know, a lot of films are made and in post-production the scenes are cut, and sometimes actors are never in the film.
Yeah,
It's actually quite often.
Wow. There's an example of that. There's a guy I used to listen to called Greg Plitt, who used to be a motivational speaker and a bodybuilder. Unfortunately passed away, and you can see him on YouTube. He was meant to be in the Terminator Salvation film. He was in quite a big scene, and after they shot all of that, they cut all of his scenes, so he wasn't in the film. And that would have been a big break for him personally, because that was one of his debut acting entries in a big feature film, and it was all cut away.
Yeah,
never to be seen, apart from on the the extra ones you can see on YouTube. But that's a shame, really, because like you say, people you've got to stand your ground and say, look, I'm giving my time and effort here. I'm not just an expendable object. I'm actually a person with thoughts and feelings, with experience, with talents and skills that can benefit your project.
Yeah.
So
you've got to stand your ground, but also you've got to be willing to accept the journey, because the journey is going to be full of rejection, full of it. And you go, okay, fair enough. Move on to the next thing. Learn from it.
So what would you say, based on all what we talked about, where would you see yourself? 5. I know it's a very stereotypical question, very cliche. But where would you see yourself 5 years from now, 12 months from now? Where do you see yourself after everything we've talked about, all the experiences? Where do you see yourself now as a vision to move forward?
In the next 1 year, starting to be chosen as a lead actor in productions. That's my goal. 5 years as a household name lead actor and filmmaker.
Okay.
That's it. Really simple.
Yes, it's very, very clear, very, very simple. Like you say, it's not too broad and too hopefully, like you say, you've got to go out there and do that. So is that something that you bait on the back of Legacy of Lies when that's released, and obviously your books that you've done? Are those the kind of things from that exposure that you want to get more work from and be able to?
Yeah, because I've done TV. I did a big TV show, which was really good, and I've got a lot of experience now. So yeah, I'm in a really good place right now, because I've achieved. I'm at the end of a very long road of achievement with Legacy. So now I'm ready to really go for it, and the work's coming in now. So I've got no doubts, by the way. That's definitely going to happen, one way or another. And what people do is they tend to overestimate what they can do in a year, and underestimate what they can do in 10 years.
Yes.
You can have fucking 10 years, man. You can change the fucking world. In 1 year, you can change yourself completely. And the one most important goal in your life is to look in the mirror and say to yourself, what do I need to do to be a better person?
I agree.
There was a great quote from a book that I'm reading right now that says, don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to yourself. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's exactly what you're saying. It's
absolutely
really good.
So, how do you, obviously, like Legacy of Lies again, because that's one of the biggest ones, and something that we'll be able to see very soon. How do you feel the reception will go when people see you? Because obviously I've seen some clips, some of your scenes. How do you think people will receive those? The fact that you're in this this feature film with Scott Adkins and you're in some of the scenes with him. How do you think people will receive that?
Well, I don't really know. Is the answer to that. I mean, I'm not in a big part of the film. I'm in a very small parts of the film.
Yeah,
because I'm a minor supporting actor. But for me, it's not about that. It's that I actually did that. I'm actually getting into a Hollywood film. So it's a break. It's an opportunity for me.
Okay. And
when people see the scenes that I do, they're going to say, oh yeah, this guy's fucking good. He can fight, he can act, and all this kind of stuff. So maybe we can choose him for our project. And that's the way it works. that since I did films and wanted to get work, I've had people call me and contact me, said, I want, from your film, Tom, I've had people call me saying, I want you to be like that in my film. I want you to have that aggression. I want you to do that, you know? So what people do when they're looking for people to be in their film is they look at what you've done. And that's why it's very important to do different show reels. Even if you're not in film, get show reels done of a different side of what you can do as an actor. You can be aggressive, you can be a villain, you can be a hero, you can be a fucking victim, because those are the three roles that people play in life. And you've got to get as much diversity in those show reels as you can, right? You've got to get a portfolio out there that people can really grasp you, who you are. Because when I do auditions now, I get people send me the sides and the scripts and things like that. And I will ask them for direction. You know, how do you want me to play this? And I got an audition yesterday, I told you about, Tom, where I can't mention the film because I've signed an NDA. But it is a feature film, it's a big feature film, and I play a younger Kelsey Grammer kind of dude. Not the accent so much, but the behaviour of him, because he's quite comedic and quite English-speaking, more English than American kind of thing. So they'll give me like a context, and then I will play that in a self-tape. And, have fun doing that, and record your self-tapes and keep them, because actually you can send your self-tapes and put them on your Mandy or your Backstage. You don't have to have a fucking show reel and pay money for that. You know, you can make your own films. So that's what I would say to that.
Brilliant. Yeah, that everything you said, I think it resonates really well, especially from what you've done and the kind of experience you've had. I think it all as a culmination, these things will pay off. And like
it does pay off, because all casting directors are doing is they're trying to look. They want you to get the audition pass. They want you for the part. What they want you to do is ace the audition. They don't want to see hundreds of fucking people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They want their job to be dead easy.
Nice and simple.
So they're looking for people that are very close to what they want. And I can tell you right now, guys, you'll get chosen for a film on your look. They will look at you, go, that's the person I want. They haven't even fucking seen you perform yet. This is why it's so important to get great headshots. Not just headshots, but different portfolio, different clothes, show reels. Some people casting directors look at you and they go, that's the one I want, because they looked at me and said, that's a young Kelsey Grammer. They didn't look at other people. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, the casting directors want to get you to get in that film. They want you to do it. Just help them do it, is my advice there.
Make it easy for them, make it less hard work. Because if it's hard work for them, why would they want to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
The final things that we'll say is just, where can people find you, Marco?
Yeah.
Books, social medias, where can people follow you?
So go to my Instagram, Marco Robinson Now, one word. Twitter, Marco Robinson 7. Facebook, Marco Robinson fan page. That's where you can find me.
Excellent.
Perfect. And what about your books as well? You've written a book, haven't you? Where can they find that?
My books are on Amazon. You just look at my name and the books will come up. But the first book I wrote was called Close the Deal and Suddenly Grow Rich. It's basically a sales book, how to negotiate, how to network. It's great to learn social media and how to communicate with people. And the second book I wrote was called The Financial Freedom Guarantee. It's about property and real estate. It's how to invest in real estate without any money, how to buy-to-let and replace your salary so you can get passive income coming in so you can make more fucking films, right? Those are the 2 books I wrote. And my new book that I'm writing now is called Undisputed Success, The 7 Steps to Outstanding Achievement.
Wow. And there we go, guys. We've spoken to Marco. You've heard a lot from him, a lot of experience, a lot of crazy stories. You know where to find him now. And like myself, Jack and Mark, we've all been talking about the motivational things, the mindset behind what you have to do in order to get where you want to be. So watch this, rewatch it, go through and take some notes. And if anything strikes a chord with you, you resonate with that and you think, you know what, I can use that to get where I want to be, use it. So
and contact me, reach out to me.
Yeah, contact Marco and get in touch because
I will reply to you.
Exactly. There you go. See, you know where to find him. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can talk to him and you can talk about his experience a bit more in depth and hear more from him and what he's been doing. And again, he can help you. And perhaps, if you've got a certain set of skills, can even pass you on if the project suits you right. Or
work
if
together. You never know.
Exactly. There you go. And we can collab together. So it's been great talking to you, Marco. Fantastic to hear again from your stories and who you are as a person. Always great to hear some inspiration. Thanks again for Jack for joining us, for joining out with the questions and stuff, and being able to offer some feedback. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been the Midlands Media Mixer page. You'll be seeing lots more of these interviews very soon, with lots more individuals from varying backgrounds of the industry, from acting, VFX, film production, directors, all sorts. So stay tuned, and we'll see you again.
Bye.
My pleasure, guys.